And welcome back to another episode of The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs. I'm here with AIW owner John Thorne. We want to say what's up to everybody. Give a shout out to the sponsors, The Exchange, Fight Plus. What else we got, Thorne? Who else? That's it, right?
Yeah, we don't have too many sponsors. The deal with The Exchange is expiring shortly as well, so maybe we will sit down at the negotiation table very shortly, but nothing. We're really bad at sponsors. EVP Jimmy is just fucking not bringing in the sponsorship dollars. You know, he got a fancy new office in AIW Towers, and he hasn't brought too much to the table.
He's using those company seats. Him and Alberti going to all the Cavs games, and Derek.
Oh yeah, thanks for the invite, guys. Yeah, cool. Let's bring the fourth string commentator. That's really gonna get you moving up the ladder at the company.
Ouch.
Even if I don't want to go, I just want to be asked. You know who's really mad about that?
Who?
It's the Duke.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's very upset. He's never been asked.
Wow.
But the Duke,
he holds a grudge too.
I think I need a shadier tax guy because, ooh, buddy, I got the AIW tax bill, and that's the reason why we got to do this hard sell, because
we recoup some funds or what?
Yeah, that we're pretty much wiped out after paying that tax bill, which it was supposed to be actually. So I got all my stuff on Saturday. Did not have enough money to cut the check. For the federal government. So I had to, transfer stuff around. You know what I mean? It doesn't instantly transfer.
Not large sums like that, no.
Right. And, had to wait for some ticket sales to come through over the weekend, which we had a nice little run. So that's helped us out a little bit. So, it's like 1 to 3 days from PayPal, right? So, the stuff hadn't cleared yesterday, and I know that they're not going to cash it like right away, but anyway, long story short, you're supposed to send it in yesterday by 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I fucking did not. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Let me get, because I had to do it anyway. We're going to get back into sending the Patreon packages out and all that stuff. I was like, let me just get all this shit set up, because it's, been sitting idle since my car got stolen and all that shit. And I'm like, I have this plan to where I'm going to just buy the postage and print it out at home. And then, I'll have the proper timestamp or whatever. This fucking Dymo thermo printer just kept saying error state. I'm uninstalling it, reinstalling it, fucking restart my computer, update my computer, trying to print, print a sample copy or whatever it does. And like, it's shooting out all these blank labels and like nothing's happening. And, finally about, I don't know, midnight last night, I just fucking took it and I just threw it on the ground real hard.
Did that fix it?
No, it didn't fix it at all.
I would have gave up and went to the post office.
Well, it's too late. I mean, it was after 5. You know what I mean? So I thought, I can print the postage out at home. You know what I mean? And like, It would be all good. But I couldn't get the fucking thing to print. And I don't, I don't think anybody has fucking regular printers at home anymore. I certainly don't.
No.
So I don't know. Hopefully I don't catch a fine, but I had to literally find an envelope and like hand write it out and find some stamps, which luckily I found some stamps hidden away in a drawer in my house last night.
The Hail Mary came through and you found postage just lodged away in your house somewhere. That's incredible.
But still, like, it's not going to be postmarked, you know? So I don't know. You know, maybe, hopefully they give me a little leeway there because, but I dropped it in the mail.
Can you say you have COVID? You couldn't leave the house? Be like, I had to stay home one more extra day.
I don't think that works. I don't think that works anymore. But yeah, so that was my fucking night. And I ordered a new printer on the credit card today. So hopefully, one way or another, we'll get those Patreon packages out this week.
I got a printer. I could print out the labels if you needed to, and then bring them Saturday.
Yeah, I would have to. I gotta look, you know, because you got to do I do it like I'm sure you do it probably a similar way, but I'd buy it all in like stamps.com or whatever.
I use pirate ship.
Yeah, it's probably all the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Stamp talk, baby.
I don't know. I mean, I know we say it all the time, but it's been so hard to get all this shit back on track. All these fucking EVPs not stepping up. You know, obviously you're EVP of audio engineering. You're ready to go, but
we're here. We're doing a podcast at least now.
I got a lot of shit going on. I got the Psychopathic Records people all over me for fucking gathering stuff.
That's coming up, right?
In July, I got like the phone call the other day. So working on that. We have a lot of fucking shows on the docket coming up in the next few months as well. I'm trying to line shit up for all that. It's just, man, it's been a lot. You know, before we started recording, we were just like, all right, we're going to set a day. And I think we decided on Sunday evenings, we're going to try to set every Sunday to get back rolling again, because, you know, you're on more of a consistent work schedule now.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so easy for like the weekday to just get away from you when you got to go to that 9 to 5 right off the rip. You know what I mean?
Especially because now, too, it's just starting to be like light out a little later, too. Before, a month or 2 months ago, man, by the time I was getting home from work, or people getting home from work at 5 or 6, it's fucking dark. And you're like, oh,
right.
shit.
And you just don't want to do shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm in the same boat. So yeah, it's just, things just get away. You know what I mean? It's just, it's, I don't know why it's just been so difficult to get everything back on track. You know, as far as, you know, I think about it and it's like, man, like what I think what it was is like pre-COVID, we would go meet up somewhere. Mm-hmm. And we would knock out 4 hours, you know, plus. We would just record the whole month worth of podcast in a day.
Yeah.
So it was really, but it's just too hard to do that, you know, because everybody is going in every which direction at this point.
Yeah, it's hard to knock it out for, like, to get, like, a big chunk anymore. Like, I don't even know when I could clear out, like, a 4 or 5 hour, you know, from my week to really do it. But once a week is tough too, because if we did prior to this, we didn't have like a set day, so the podcast is easily to be something that like slips around, and you know, before you know it, it's the next week, because it's like we didn't have a set day. Now, if we're saying, hey, every Sunday we're gonna sit down, you could start your week Monday morning, listen to this, and you know, listen to what else comes out on Monday. Observational Banner could go back to back. Carter's going to change right into Observational Banner.
I mean, I'm so just. I used to be able to listen to podcasts at work and stuff, and like, I have no time to like listen to podcasts at all. So it's just, man, I don't know, life, man, right? People don't want to hear me talk about life though. They want to hear us talk about wrestling and AIW and all that sort of business.
I think they're just happy to have us back. But yes, let's get into the wrestling. I'm pretty excited for this week, for this Saturday show. We haven't been, you know, we were rocking and rolling there for quite a while, and then now, you know, in the little winter months there, the little winter lull that we had, doing a show only once a month, it's like I feel like I haven't seen you forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, what I like about how the schedule developed is, especially, for 2023, is we've kind of set it up like a real kind of wrestling territory to where we're not in the same place too much all year. Now, there are plenty of psychopaths that follow us everywhere we go, which is greatly appreciated. But there are also people that will only come in Cleveland or only come in Akron, and like we're kind of like sticking and moving a lot this year. And then, we're throwing Youngstown into the mix, and then the summer, like a lot of the, those summer things are lining up. We're talking with North Canton again. We're talking with Wadsworth again. We're talking with the people out in Ashtabula about doing the Fonzie thing again. So like there's a lot of stuff cooking up, and it's then you got Wrestle Rager. We're gonna go back to no class again this year. So like
that I can't wait for, of course.
There's just a lot of there's a lot of stuff cooking up, already, and we lost the Winchester dates, but we got a couple irons in the fire on that stuff too right now. Nothing official, but we have a couple possible meetings on the horizon. So there's been a lot going on, and the schedule is pretty packed. Not to mention, we're doing the Black Label production. We're doing the ring rentals for Old Wrestling, so even when there's not an AIW show, there's something going on, almost every weekend. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes to say, that's almost like a tip of the hat to the fans too, because we're everywhere. We never just run one city, one building. We're all over the place because we have people that, we're all over the place. We got fans all over Ohio, Northeast Ohio. So,
and that's what I mean.
We're really spreading ourselves around.
And that's what I mean, kind of setting it up more like a traditional, like a territory, as opposed to, AIW just does shows in Cleveland. Now you can find us Cleveland, Akron, Youngstown, Wadsworth, and Ashtabula at least once a year, which could be twice a year. We're talking to them about doing something at their convention in October that they run. So just a lot of stuff going on. Trying to keep everything fresh is hard. Trying to get a cool guest for a lot of these things. Just trying to, keep everything. I thought about this the other day. It's like, been doing AIW for so long, almost 18 years at this point, which is insane to say out loud. But it still feels like we're just getting started and we're just getting going, and like nothing is routine, and like we're always trying to find out ways to evolve and keep things fresh. So we had a huge meeting on Saturday on how to keep things fresh, and what the plans are, and let's figure out what we want to do for Absolution, and what we want to do at the Gauntlet, and just all this other stuff. It's it doesn't feel like I've been doing it for this long, and it doesn't feel like it still doesn't feel like it's an easy, what I mean? Like there's no easy buckets when it comes to independent wrestling. So it's like, everything is a challenge. Every show is a challenge. Everything, we've been on a great run, of course, based on our fans, but the more you grow, the more issues you have. Like, we just started it off like huge tax bill. You know what I mean? Like never had to deal with anything like that in my life. And you go, oh fuck, not going to make this mistake again. You know what I mean? Like, just always learning and growing. And it's just, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like is well-oiled of a machine as it is once we kind of get in the mix of, a show day, it's still, it's exciting and feels like we have so much more to do and so much more room to grow.
Do you feel like it's hard in this kind of day and age in 2023 with bringing in new people as far as like meet and greets go? Because we are kind of, I feel like the superstars of wrestling, like the legends, that type of, people like AEW's been around for 18 years. Like you said, we've had a lot of guests. Do you feel like it's a challenge to still kind of bring in, exciting people? Or do you feel like, I think all the people we bring in are great. I know the list of things you're working on, etc. But do you feel like that's like a task, like a big task to always kind of keep somebody, like, because you got to put yourself in the minds of how many fans, like who do they want to see? Who's relevant in 2023? Who, stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting because, like, there's what would maybe excite me might not excite everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's this big kind of gap of, there were wrestling megastars, and then there's kind of like this gap, and it's like. The people that are megastars are still megastars, still on television, and then there's some people in between, and then there's so many full-time jobs available in wrestling, so it's like it gets a little dicey as far as being able to book somebody. So like the pot is like really small when you really think about guests, and some guests are hit and some don't, right? Like X-Pac, I think, hit. It seems like Ron Simmons is hitting, like tickets are doing fairly well for this Saturday. So you don't know. And then I try to think outside the box, and, that's how I land on Abdul the Butcher for next month. You know what I mean? I thought that's a super weird one. And that's been a whole process of, I found an email, got a phone number, called the phone number. It's not him. It's like then I got to explain everything. And then they call me back. Then Abdullah gets on the phone and he's like yelling at me on speakerphone. And then, we negotiate a deal. And reluctantly, I sent a deposit that I hope is fulfilled. But I just thought it was such a weird person that I think everybody's going to go, oh, yeah, you know what? Like, he's 82 years old. Like, he's a legend. Like, how often am I going to be able to get something signed by Abdul the Butcher or get a picture with him? So that's kind of what I think about. And then, when you're working with these different towns, you can do like a retread, right? Like, we did it with Scott Hall. We've done it with Booker T before, but now you can take somebody to Youngstown that we've had before that we have a relationship with, or what I mean. Like you can start bringing some people back, and obviously like our hardcore loyal fans, probably won't participate in that meet and greet because they've met them along the way. But you can bring wrestler X into Youngstown, and like you may pull an entirely new fan base, on top of what you already have. So it's hard to figure out. And, sometimes, I had somebody really great lockdown for our return to Cleveland, and then they had a conflict come up before it was announced. So, now I have to scramble, and I got to find somebody for our return to the temple. Stuff like that kind of happens. And it's like, that's the stuff that people don't know about, is like sometimes there's these deals in place and they fall apart before they even get announced. So, stuff like that can get a little discouraging and defeating, but, and sometimes I go, I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know how this person's going to do, or, it's just always, it's always a challenge.
I feel like AIW does a pretty great job of that. I mean, there hasn't been any guests. Like, I mean, you're talking about even guys who weren't like super huge, or I guess not to say, Tommy Rich wasn't super huge, but like a guy like that, and who nowadays you wouldn't really necessarily hear about, but he came in, he was great. I mean, guests like that, like you always seem to have a good like feel on. Because that's like I said, like it's hard. What you think is great isn't going to necessarily be for everyone, but you have done a good job of getting a pretty good percentage, I guess, is to say, you can't please everybody, you know what I'm saying? But you've done a pretty good job of pleasing the majority, I would say, with who you bring in.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just all about kind of, I look at it as like the icing on the cake, right? Like the AIW show is always going to, be at least passable to good, I think. So that part, even just if it's just our local homegrown crew, like I have total faith in that part. But, the wrestling legend or meet and greet just helps with I don't know, it can help sell somebody on, do I want to go to that or do I not want to go to that? I don't really know what independent wrestling is, but I want to meet Ron Simmons, like stuff like that.
Right. That's what I was going to take us into the next thing, bringing in Ron Simmons to Akron. I feel like Akron is a great town. That's a town where we do a lot of like legend guys, kind of older. I feel like bringing in Ron Simmons to a town like that is great. Like you said, their tickets are doing pretty well for that.
Yeah, I mean, we had to add an additional row, which we have not had to do in Akron in quite some time. I don't think since Absolution, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow. It's going to be rocking then. That's awesome.
Yeah, Absolution was the last, like, really, really good Akron pre-sale. Like, October was down with the Nasty Boys and Jimmy Hart, which was shocking. But, I don't know. We've speculated on, people telling us it was Homecoming or all these other different things. And then, obviously December, we had to do, like, the venue switch, the quick venue switch.
Very short notice.
And then we did February, which was also down as far as presale is concerned. I mean, it turned out well, but it's not, like I said earlier, it's never easy, but this one is really trending to do well right now. We have the ability to add fourth row in Akron, but like a lot of the time we do not make it available because the tickets just aren't selling like that. But we had to add the fourth row earlier this week because all the other premium tickets had sold out.
Right. Well, let's get into some of the matches. Do you have anything on the card that you're really looking forward to, per se? Is there anything on this card that you're like, man, I can't wait for that one? I have a couple, but
I think I think it's a good card for a lot of different reasons. I mean, right off the bat, I think Hardway, Holloway, and Kaplan really jumps off the page at me when I was putting this together. There were a couple different instances, of what to do with Sam, and at one point we were going to give Kaplan the show off. He's always going super hard every match he does, and it's kind of catching up to him a little bit physically.
Just going to be a jerky salesman that show,
right? Yeah, because the thing is like. Veteran wrestlers are always like, yeah, save your bumps, or, there's a bump card or this and that. Kaplan goes 1,000% every time he wrestles. Like, he doesn't know how to phone it in. He doesn't know how to not just mangle and destroy his body. So, he would never ask for it off. But, like, seeing him, what the people don't see, like, Kaplan, like, behind the curtain, you know what I mean? Where he is just, like, not walking well and like in a lot of pain backstage. So just out of looking out for his own well-being, we are potentially gonna let him rest up.
I've said it before on this show, other shows. Kaplan, every single time he comes through the curtain, it looks like he was in a car accident. Every single time. He's limping, he's very hurt, he's most often bloody, he's holding something, and it's not like kayfabe. And the man literally looks like he's been in a car accident every single time he comes back through the curtain. Every time. Right.
So that was a thought, and I just kept moving things around, and then, I somehow arrived at this, and I went, because here's like Sam Holloway, this is his area, right? So like you want to kind of give him a big opportunity. This is where he is from. This is where he is going to garner the most support. And I just wrote this down one day and I went, man, I think that is, like you said, Kaplan always looks as if he's in a car wreck. I was like, I looked at those two names and I was like, that is a car wreck that you would, you're going to slow down to look at.
Yeah.
That's exactly what my thought process was in booking that match. So, right off the bat, that one really, really jumps off the page at me. There's, I think the whole show's good. You know what I mean? You have, our first steel cage match in years and years and years and years, with PME and Prohibition and M-Dog. That thing's been brewing. Everyone will finally get a chance to see our brand new steel cage.
Yes.
We've never even set it up before, so be prepared for that learning curve.
I'm so excited for this match for many reasons. I've been a fan of AIW, been coming for a while. There's been a lot of firsts. I've saw my first barbed wire match at AIW, ladder matches, etc. All these things. I have yet to see a cage match at AIW. I have not been coming long enough for the old Turner's days and the old big pink cage that you used to have. So this will be my first cage match, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much looking forward to it. The whole card is great. The mystery behind the Bitcoin Boys Open Challenge is out there. Not even going to begin to speculate. I'll leave that to the fans in attendance or people on Twitter to make guesses as to who that's going to be. Go ahead.
A match I'm excited to see. Big Zig getting another match again against Steph DeLander. Cardona's.
Steph DeLander came in at the last event and obviously made a big impact. And she actually came in on a losing effort against Jocelyn Navarro. Big Zig has not had too many singles matches herself. So I thought, let's see what these two can get in there and do. Obviously, Big Zig wrestled in Kent, and she's not wrestling on a consistent basis on the main shows. But now we have another woman to throw into the mix. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for both of them. Steph DeLander has to prove that she can win. Big Zig wants to prove that she belongs on the main cards. Right. So I think that there's a lot at stake for both of them here. I thought it was something that people would get excited about, and I think I was right based on it did get quite the reaction on social media when we announced it. So very much looking forward to that one as well.
Another match we got for the Intense title. Derek versus Tom Lawler, Filthy, the Filth Man, love seeing Tom back, versus Shaw Mason versus the Scramble God, Chase Oliver. Now, this is a four-way that you're not going to see anywhere but AIW. Shaw Mason in there with Tom again. He's faced Tom. Derek and Chase have faced each other. Now you're going to put all four of them in there. Four extremely different styles in the ring at one time. This is a classic AIW four-way scramble. You know what I mean? This is four guys who have completely different styles getting in there. All have kind of seen each other in one way, form, or fashion. Now they're going to put all of them in there. This is great.
Yeah, I just again, it's just when I'm kind of doing this thing where I'm moving the names around and I'm seeing, what falls into place. Shaw Mason coming off a win, Tom Lawler coming off a win, Chase Oliver is always in the mix because he really never wins and never loses because he's in so many scramble matches. You know what I mean? So right. It's hard to really gauge. At first it was, I had it as a three-way, but anybody that knows me, I just hate odd numbers. So I was like, man, we need a fourth person. And I went, you know what? Chase Oliver will fit right in there because it's going to be a weird mix of people. And that's exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for just meshing those styles all together and seeing what happens. It could turn out awful. It could turn out great. But those are kind of the chances you have to take. You know what I mean? Like it's the way I look at it is it's really easy to book a good match in independent wrestling. I don't think it really takes too much skill to like take good wrestler versus good wrestler and like it's good. I think it's a lot more of an accomplishment when you take all these different kind of wrestlers and you throw it in the pot and you see what they can come up with.
Yeah.
And if it's bad, you know, you just say, hey, look who was in there. You know what I mean? Of course it was bad.
Yeah, it's all right? Another big match I'm really looking forward to, Dom versus Fred Rosser. Now, this is a guy I haven't seen too much of, so I'm pretty excited to see, you know, Dom get in there and mix it up with a guy who's in New Japan currently. He was in the WWE, correct?
Yeah, he was in the WWE for a very, very long time as Darren Young.
Darren Young.
You know,
okay.
had a
that name sounds familiar now.
A very, very long run. He's in the Primetime Players with Titus O'Neil. I believe he was in Nexus. Like he was there for a really, really long time.
Okay.
And you know, now he's kind of reinvented himself. You know, on New Japan Strong, and he's an instructor at the New Japan Dojo in LA, and has really kind of just totally reinvented himself as a wrestler in America. And this is a big test for Dom. You know, like Dom's been in there with a lot of great wrestlers. No kind of disrespect for Dom, but this is like definitely leveling up for him. You know what I mean? This is not your run of the mill like great independent wrestler. This is a guy that is you know, at the very top of his game, has huge resume, you know, not only in WWE, but what he's been able to do on New Japan Strong, and, you know, just had some incredible matches with, you know, someone we know very well in Filthy Tom Lawler. So I think this is definitely a step up in class for Dom. It can go either way, you know what I mean? Dom is really, you know, one of the guys at the top of the food chain in independent wrestling, but you don't know what that difference is. You know what I mean? When you're looking at somebody of the pedigree of Fred Rosser. So it can really go, you know, in a zillion different directions. I think it's a great test for Dom. It's something that Dom needs. And you know, if I know everyone's really big on the new legalized sports betting, and Dom is usually a pretty big favorite. I don't think he's the favorite. You know what I mean? If you put their resumes next to each other, I think you know, this is a big test for Dom. Which, you know, at the independent level, you don't see Dom get tested too much, but this is this could be what he needs, you know what I mean, if he wants to ever, you know, step up in class as a pro wrestler.
I think it's an incredible move on your part, because you're doing that for Dom, and you're really kind of, you know, he gets put in there with a lot of the, like you guys, you said, the great guys of the independent scene and this type of stuff. But it's also huge because, you know, then Fred's going to come in and do a seminar. So it's like, not only does Dom get to learn from that and have this great match, but like you as a promoter are bringing in names to always get your students and your core roster of AIW who's around here better. You know what I mean? And that's huge in my opinion, because the fans, yeah, we get this great match. We're going to get Dom versus Fred Rosser, but this guy's going to come in and do a seminar that's going to make everybody who comes to AIW and wrestles with AIW better. And it's only, you know what I mean? That's only just furthering the great matches everyone's going to have down the road.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, that is, you know, investing in the future. That is, you know, AIW investing in the future. That's the individuals who choose to do the seminar investing in their future. So, you know, and I look at it that way, you know, like there's only so much you can learn from Dom at the school or Derek or Duke or Josh Prohibition or any of the number of trainers that go in there and help on a day-to-day basis. But, you know, when you bring in these outside guys with these other perspectives and these other life experiences that they can share and they can teach, that is how you make people better, as you said. And that is, a big part behind of bringing in Fred Rosser, obviously, is he's a coach at the New Japan American Dojo in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like, that is a huge, huge deal. And you don't know, like, nobody has brought that sort of perspective and training to this area for the most part. So, I think it's an incredible opportunity, not only for Dom, like you said, but everybody that attends the AIW school, to be able to get in there and learn with somebody of his caliber.
Right. Right. Because, it's not every day you're going to get to go fly out to LA and get invited to that dojo and learn from that. Somebody comes around this area and wants to give that information. You'd be a fool not to take it.
Right. And, the crazy thing that shocks me is, we did open up a few spots outside of the AIW school, and I have not had anybody inquire about it.
Wow.
We've sent it out to, other schools in the area, and no takers as of yet. So, we'll see what happens. But, it's the AIW Academy's gain, nonetheless.
Sure. A couple more matches. We got Bulking Season versus Money Shot. Now, this is going to be an interesting matchup to see where kind of Bulking Season's, coming back off of losing the titles a few matches ago to Bitcoin.
They want to get back in the conversation for sure.
Right. And you got guys like Money Shot who have always been kind of scratching and clawing to get their way up the ranks of the AIW tag division. So this is going to be a real interesting one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Money Shot kind of have this kind of undercover run that I don't think too many people are paying attention to. But they've never been pinned. You know what I mean? Much like Chase Oliver, sometimes they're in these multi-tag team matches and they don't win, but they don't lose either.
Yeah.
So, it's to me, it's interesting to see, can they hang with not the champs, but the last champs. And, on the flip side of that is, can Chuck and Arthur, recover, coming off a loss, you know what I mean? A big loss, by losing those tag titles. It's always kind of interesting to see how performers and wrestlers kind of react to that adversity. You know what I mean? Do they like regroup and rise again, or do they fade off?
Right, because this will be an opportunity for them to really kind of prove, hey, we were the champs and we could be again by pinning Money Shot, because like you said, they've won, we've seen them win, but we've also never actually see them lose and take the pin. They, like you said, they've been in multi-man, multi-tag stuff. Now it's Bulking Season versus Money Shot. Tag versus tag. So Bulking Season has an opportunity to come in and say, hey, we still belong, we're still around, we're still a force to be reckoned with, be the first ones to pin Money Shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has the Absolute title been announced yet? Everything's announced, right?
No, it'll be announced by the time this comes out. It will be the newly crowned Absolute Champion Matthew Cardona defending against the former champion Joshua Bishop, who he did not beat at the Temple. So that's
Josh didn't take the pin, correct?
Right. I mean, so this is a chance, and this one's been brewing for literally years if you really think about it. This is where we were headed to Absolution last year, and unfortunately Matthew Cardona suffered that injury that put him out for several months, and we never got that big match, that that big moment in Akron for Joshua Bishop, and as luck would have it, here we are, a little late, but we're finally getting to that big main event at the Tadmore Shrine of Matt Cardona versus Joshua Bishop 1-on-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like you said, Josh didn't lose. He kind of had people, that the last way was a 3-way, and he didn't.
4-way.
Excuse me, 4-way. It was announced as a 3. Then Justice was added and all that. So yes, I mean, it was kind of out of Josh's control on as far as he had 2 extra guys. Now he has Cardona 1-on-1 for the belt. We're gonna see Josh. He's not going to be happy about losing the belt without taking the pin, So I think you're going to see Josh, not that he hasn't ever been motivated, but I think he's going to be extremely motivated to show, now it's just me and you. Cardona likes to call Josh Stiffy. He says he hits hard. Wait till you see how hard Josh is going to hit in this match, I believe.
Yeah, and the X factor of it all is that dastardly Bill Alfonso is going to be out there.
It's still hard to believe. It's like a dream you wake up from and you're like, man, wait, was that real or was it a dream? But this is real life. Bill Alfonso and Matt Cardona, it's wild times out here in AIW. It's something I never would have thought I would,
I don't think anybody saw that coming. We never really had a chance to discuss that, but I have never in all of AIW witnessed a live reaction like that that we saw at the Temple at the conclusion of 216. I mean, I saw people were crying.
There was a man crying. There was a man crying.
People were shocked. I'm very interested to see what that reaction is going to be when Fonzie walks to the ring with Matt Cardona for the first time, because for years Fonzie has been, for lack of a better term, a mascot for AIW. You know what I mean? He's
legend
out in line with the fans. He's hanging. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be interesting.
I don't think he acted the way he does at AIW at other places when he goes there. I'm sure Bill's nice to everyone. Fonzie's nice to everyone. He'll take a picture with, he'll talk to you. But like you're saying, at AIW, he's walking around in line, chatting with people. He is around. You will see Fonzie at AIW. I don't think he acted like that at other promotions. You know what I mean?
No, I'm absolutely with you, because and I think that's why people were so upset.
Yeah.
By what happened. I'm very interested to see how that whole thing unfolds, because people were mad. You know what I mean? And people have not forgotten. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe he's going to get the old Dr. Dan toilet paper treatment. I don't know.
Oh, man.
But people are, like, I think, very angry at Fonzie, because people hate Matt Cardona as it is. So it's just like it's like coming from all angles for people to be mad at Fonzie.
Also, we do, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, we have some pre-show action. I know those were both announced, right? We got some pre-show matches, so definitely get there early. We got Tyson Riggs versus AJ the Slugger Austin James. We got PB Smooth and Carson versus H2V2. So
yeah, we're gonna have two pre-show matches this time. Probably do one real, because I think there's going to be a lot of people coming to meet Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
So we're going to open those doors right at 6:30, have people getting in line, and we'll probably throw the first pre-show match out there like 6:50 or so, and then do another one, I don't know, 7:10 or somewhere along there, to where it's not an hour of people kind of sitting in silence.
Yeah.
And, it gets people also some reps in as well, in front of the crowd, warms them up a little bit, for the big show, which I believe the main card is 8 matches which is what we're going to try to stick to as best as possible, unless it's like a super big show like Absolution or something. We're really going to kind of try to keep the main shows, the streams on Fight, the main cards running smooth.
I think the pre-show, I like the idea of the pre-show matches because especially in a place like Akron where you're gonna have a big line for Ron Simmons. Our meet and greet lines are always big in Akron, and it gives you something to do while you're standing there. Hell, even if you're standing in line getting a beer, getting some pizza, some food, if there's a match in the ring going on, something you can pay attention to, you don't just got to stand there and talk to your buddies. I feel like that, I like that in Akron. I think it gives people something to do. It's great. Like you said, gives people opportunity to work, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to try to keep with this schedule going forward, and, you'll see those pre-show matches, popping up on YouTube and things like that. But, that's the card. I'm excited about it. It should be packed. We've already outsold the last, like I said earlier, the last few Akron shows as far as pre-sale is concerned. So if you want to meet Ron Simmons, I suggest you get there early. I don't know if Ron Simmons is going to be a stick around and come back out an intermission guy. Everyone's a little different about that sort of thing. But buy some merch because that tax check was hefty. Yeah, we do have AIW logo shirts that we made at the last show. We have leftovers, lime green, and it says 216 on the back. We got some hats, all sorts of stuff. We'll have posters for sale for the event, that you can get autographed and things like that. So. Yeah, we're just I'm excited because we haven't had a sure thing in Akron, like I said, since Absolution last July. So it seems like this show is really hitting right now. And again, we have to go back and got to thank everybody that came to the temple for our return to Cleveland. We can't sign off without talking about that. Man.
Yeah, what a return to Cleveland, baby. That thing was packed.
We so happy. Like legitimately had to turn people away at the door because we just could not fit any more people into that room. Just awesome turnout from everybody. Obviously Sean Weltman helped with that. Sean Weltman's not going to be there every time. I hope that people can continue to pack it when we go there. You know what I mean? We're back there in June. It looks like we're going to do J-Lit there in the fall. And then we're going to end the year there strong in December. So, it's
Ron and
that's
John
another
birthday show, the December show. Hell yeah!
That's another thing we didn't talk about. Not only are we bouncing around Cleveland, Youngstown, Akron, we also got Eastlake. We've upped that schedule from one to twice a year this year. You know what I mean? So we're bouncing all over the place. And I know people had their concerns and criticisms of the temple. But man, did it look so legit in that room. You know what I mean? Just packed out, and it's such a cool looking space. And I was just so ecstatic that happened. You know what I mean? No matter where we go, AIW is a Cleveland promotion. That's the only venue that'll have us in the greater Cleveland area right now.
There's gonna be some growing pains. It is what it is. But I think that room, when it was packed out like that, was incredible. That was a great vibe. The crowd was hot. It was loud. You know what I mean? It was great.
And, we did bring up the concerns, like they told us it was going to be free parking. They sprung parking on there, but they had their explanation did make sense to me. And it was hard for me to argue much further in the fact that they put, whether it was big or not, they had another rental in another one of the venue spaces in the complex. So they said, we have to charge to park because we don't know. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of the cards that we were dealt for the day. We did reiterate that at any time possible, we would always prefer to have free parking, in which they have promised they are going to do their best to accommodate. But here's the reality with that space. They told us they have 18 venue spaces within that complex.
Yeah, it's
now,
huge.
They are not all show ready yet, but one day I assume that there are going to be, other events going on while our event is going on. I mean, I understand where everyone's coming from, but they did, they kept it at $10, which is, I don't know, I thought it was the best way to meet in the middle of what the circumstance was.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's something that's out of your control. But it's also something in the future. We've had this problem. It was the first time there, so we had a few hurdles. And just like anything, we're gonna kind of reorganize, shift what we can do. Especially, people were complaining about the chairs and where they're gonna go. That's a lot of things. It's hard to run a wrestling promotion. This next time we'll be, we've ran that room now. Now we're gonna know. Hey, we got to put the chairs here. We got to have aisles to get in and out here. But the more that we go to this place and pack this place and go back there and show them that's big. The big part of it too. They had no idea what they were in for as far as with AIW and the AIW fans.
No, they didn't really have faith. I don't think, you know what I mean? Based on their past experiences, I don't think that they had much faith in it. So much so that like the head guy, when we arrived, came up to like pull me aside and was like, "Hey, I didn't expect this to sell out." You know what I mean? Like, and kind of had changed the tone of all of the dealings with up until that point. And they were impressed, you know what I mean? And like, there were other things that we were trying to do, but we ran out of time, that day, because we were dealing with a very bad production issue, like, we could not get internet. Then we couldn't get it lit the way we wanted it lit. You know what I mean? And like, we wanted to move some of that stuff out of there. Some of those like fold down chairs, like those. I don't even know what you call them.
They were almost like pews from a church. Those foldable like theater chairs.
Right. And, we just ran out of time. Now that we know what it's like in there with the ring, you know what I mean? We are going to kill those 2 rows on the side. You know what I mean? So just there was already less premium tickets. There's going to be even less when we return, just an FYI. But what we are going to do is we're probably going to put a few more out from the ring, you know what I mean, in that big open area.
Yeah, in the back.
So like, you won't have a 3rd row on the sides, but you'll have a 3rd row there and maybe a 4th row, you know what I mean? To where it's a little bit more manageable. And, trust me, all of the concerns and all that stuff, that's all stuff that we saw, but we had to see it, with our own eyes.
Right.
You can't just say, "Hold on, guys, we're going to reconfigure this whole thing," when there's 500 people or whatever it was in the room, like, you got to kind of roll with it and then adjust at next time. So I hope that people were not totally soured on the experience. I think that there's a ton of potential for us there to continue to grow in the Cleveland area, because, you know what I mean? Like, the Odeon was a real venue, but the Odeon was like, it was kind of, on the outskirts of the real venues. Like, that is a real venue. They're booking big time shows in there, and it legitimizes what AIW is a little bit more. And not for nothing, whether they believed in us or not, they were willing to give us a home when we didn't have one. And now they really believe in it. You know, they were, and I know that you can attest to this. You know, you walked around, you and Pedro spent time with the head guy at the end of the night, and he was very much on board with us.
I think that was kind of like where I was going with my whole point too. Is I know there's going to be some learning curves and some issues at the beginning, but if we keep showing up and the AIW faithful keeps showing up and packing this place, they're just going to be more and more apt to doing stuff for us. You know, next time we go, they're going to have more people stocked at the bar. Everything, now that they saw how we showed up the first time, you know, they're going to be ready for it, and everyone going forward will be able to kind of change a little bit and, you know, and be able to deal with anything, you know, going forward a little better, just because we've already done it. You know, we have an idea of what, you know, needs to change or whatever. And yeah, they didn't in their defense, they didn't have the greatest example of what was going to happen, and the AIW showed up and AIW happened. So, but yeah, he loved us, that's for sure.
Yeah, they just weren't ready. You know what I mean? People were complaining about the lack of food. Well, they had food, but they had it in like their basement venue space area where the other show was going on, thinking that everybody would just wander down there. You know what I mean? They weren't prepared for what was going on. So we were actually, you know what I mean? And I know you and Pedro did more in depth than when I was there, but we were able to kind of have a little bit of a mini meeting after the event was over, and it was like, they're like, yeah, we're gonna staff this lobby bar, and we're gonna put food here, and we're gonna, you know what I mean? Because they were even shocked that we had all of our merch and stuff going on in the lobby, and they were kind of like, oh wow, this is, everybody should be doing this, you know what I mean? Like the concerts, everything. But I don't know where they put it, but they were like really like blown away that we were utilizing all of that space on the first floor. Mm-hmm. And they started to kind of get it, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was too late for them to audible as it was happening, but you know, afterwards they're like, we're opening this bar, we're putting food here, we're doing this, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because as much as you tell them, hey, we're gonna sell, there's gonna be when we have that initial meeting and you buy those dates and you say, hey, you know, this is what's gonna happen. As a venue owner, they're gonna say, yeah, sure, because every show that they book there wants to sell it out and wants to have 1,000 people there, etc., yada yada. But they're unless you prove that and do this, you know, they're not gonna book. They're not going to put 100 people on the schedule to have 10 people show up, and then they got people standing around that they're paying all night. But now that they've seen we kind of show out, and that's how the fan base is, that this next time things are going to be different.
Right, and you know, if the only way to like enact them to change is to like show who we are, you know what I mean? AIW isn't just me, it's not just Pedro, it's not just the wrestlers, it's everybody, you know? So like that's the only way. Every venue we've ever went to was like, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? Like every single one. There's not a one that,
and they're like, yeah, sure.
There's not one that was like awesome, you know what I mean? Everyone's like, yeah, okay, cool, you know what I mean? Like you owe us this much money if you want to do a show on this day.
Yeah, right.
You know, so it's just, it helps us create leverage and, you know, bring things down, and, you know, who knows what happens in 2024, because, you know, we have X amount of dates there through the end of this year, and then we're kind of free agents, and, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But there's not a lot in AIW, there's not a lot in Cleveland that can go to a venue and say, we guarantee you, no matter what, we're going to have at least 200 to 500 people show up. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of bands that can do that in this town on a regular basis. So, you know, it's just helping kind of build the, you know, I guess, reputation and resume of what AIW is. And, you know, will continue to help us exist and have options going forward, you know. Like another great example of that is, you know, No Class, the new owner, had never seen wrestling ever. You know what I mean? Like, was like, very hesitant about Wrestle Rager returning there last year. Like, had no idea what to expect.
She was
I don't
very
get
hesitant on it. That's for sure. When I first showed up, I was the first person to get there, and there were still cars parked there and stuff, like in that back lot. And yeah, she was very hesitant, like, wrestling, huh? Like, okay, like, and then by the end of the day, yeah, I mean, they loved us.
Yeah, by the end of the day, they're like, how many of these do you want to do next year?
Yeah,
you know,
didn't they want to commentate one of the matches or something? Like, she was up on the porch, like, they were loving it. Her and her husband were like, this is the greatest thing we've ever booked. Right,
so it's just like, you just gotta weather the storm and show them, you know what I mean? And I also know people don't like the Ticketmaster fees. They said that they'll make time for people who don't want to pay those fees. Like, they'll make times at the box office for people to come down, you know what I mean? And just they're really trying to accommodate, because I just want to get across that what everybody is saying is not falling on deaf ears. Everything is being sent up the chain on your behalf. Like, I'm not just going like, yeah, whatever. Like, everything is relayed to them, and I'm trying to, enact these changes. And, some of the stuff you just gotta kind of go with, you know what I mean? They have a contract with Ticketmaster. Like, that is how all of these venues that use Ticketmaster are. I don't know the details of that, but like, that's the only reason why Ticketmaster exists, is because they sign these venues to whatever deal, you know what I mean? And they're not allowed to use any other service. So I've expressed people's, displeasure with that. And, they've said, hey, we'll make time at the box office to, we can waive fees that way. And there's all these kind of different things that they're willing to do to keep us there. And I think that will continue, even with the parking thing. Michelle and Jose were the ones that kind of like bit the bullet on that, and were the first ones to get that shock. Because when we were arriving, there's nobody out there. But, they arrived and they got charged, and they put, they kind of threw the bat signal up, and, they were in the lobby, and I'm sure they could tell you, I went right down there, and I grabbed the lady, and I was like, hey, this is not what we talked about. And, I think she kind of went over and spoke to them herself too. 'Cause I was like, you're making me look bad. Like, I've preached this free parking thing for months, so it's all the, feedback is not falling on deaf ears, is what I want to say. We're going to be back there in June. I hope that everybody packs it out again, and, we have a great time, because I really think out of all the venues, AIW looked the best in there from a live show standpoint. It was just such a cool atmosphere and vibe, like cooler than the Odeon, you know what I mean? Just like a whole different experience.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad we're there for as many ever shows as we got. But, well, anything else that you want to tackle? I know, it's been a minute, so I want to get everything in there while we got us. But hey, we're going to be, look for us on Monday mornings. We're going to be coming back weekly.
Yeah, and I put a couple questions in the Discord.
Did we get questions?
Yeah, there's not too many people that responded. Jay Gold wants to know where we're drinking Saturday night. I don't know. There's no official after party at this time in Akron, so I would suggest you do all your drinking at the Shrine for the time being, because we've not found a new Akron after party home, and to be perfectly honest with you, like, the majority of the people have a New Japan dojo seminar that's starts at 10 a.m. Yeah. So I don't know how many people are going to be going out on Saturday night.
Listen, I don't got to go to the dojo. I'm drinking after the show on Saturday. Come drink with me, Jay Gold.
Scott Random wants to know about putting commentary on the North Canton shows from last year. It's been talked about, but a few things happened. Last year we only taped it with one iPad, so it's not the footage is not as good as last year. On one of the shows, the iPad just dies, and there's just no footage of the rest of a Wes Barkley Eric Taylor match.
The lost footage.
It's not there. So I don't know. We're still trying to lock in. We have to drop new commentary on the Wrestle Razor show. The first show where we tried to do our own production, and we had all those crazy audio issues. So kind of, first priority is getting the new commentary track on that. Wadsworth and Dustin Alberti have to kind of figure out a way to coordinate that with Chase Oliver so we can get that. Because another thing, you know what I mean? I bought all this new podcast stuff, and it was stolen when my car was stolen.
Yeah,
so, you know what I mean? That threw a wrench on getting more things. I actually almost bought, I was going to buy a whole new setup, and then I got that tax bill, so I'm a little, I'm not too liquid at the moment as far as cash flow. But it's coming, you know what I mean? Like I gotta, we're working on, I think after we get through Saturday, and kind of get get a little bit of the rainy day fund back in action, we'll be able to invest in some of this stuff, but it was just a bad year, a good year, but a bad year. You know what I mean? Tremendous growth,
quick, man.
Tremendous growth financially. You know what I mean? And what we were able to do. We had a few kind of paid gigs, which really threw a wrench in things with the 1099s that we received on that, and so. Not to get too, inside baseball, but very unexpected bill. But that's the way of the world right now. Everything's expensive. So, we always find a way, and we will continue to find a way. But I just got to kind of be a little bit more careful with investing in equipment again. You know what I mean? For the time being, I got to build. I got to build it up.
Add to cart so quickly there, Thorne.
Well, I added an entire live production thing to the cart earlier last October or so, or September. So
it's like the price of a Miata.
I really I thought I was being fiscally responsible, but I wasn't thinking about the new taxes and all that shit. So we'll get through it, but that was stiff. One more question. Jeremy wants me to upload the 8x10 options to Patreon. I will do that for you. And we already covered it. Any update to replace the Winchester shows? Nothing yet. Got a few irons in the fire. Nothing official as of yet, because we really want to get stuff on the books, because we have a lot of new guys that need that schedule, need those shows on the schedule to get that one-on-one experience. We're probably going to have a whole new crop, debuting sometime by the end of summer, early fall. We got to get, eventually, you know what I mean? It's going to be, we'll be able to have, all student shows, on these, bar gigs, but, we're certainly working on it. Like I said, there's been so much going on, but nothing official to announce right here. You got anything else?
No, just hoping to see everybody out there Saturday. It's going to be a good time. I know Jay Gold's coming in town. We got one half of the Goldstein brothers. Unfortunately, Sam's not going to be here, but we got Josh. It's great. I can't wait. Longtime fan Trevor's coming out. I haven't seen Trevor in a while. I'm pretty stoked to see that guy. Who else? What else? Anything else? What do you got? Anybody coming out to the show? Your nephew? Is he going to be back there terrorizing people?
I don't know yet. Maybe.
I always love when he comes through the back and everyone ducks.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've not heard any official statements yet.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us. For John Thorne, for AIW, my name is Ronald Two Legs. We'll see you next time.